I was asked to do a video about bent over rowing. So there's a lot of different styles of bent over rowing. One of my favorites though is a T-bar row. So what we've just set up is an Olympic bar jammed into something so that the light end won't flip up. It could be a dumbbell, it could be some sandbags. Some places have a sleeve you can put it into, those are nice. We just have it in a cement block here. And then we're gonna take a cable attachment, a parallel grip attachment, and put it underneath the bar and catch it that way. You could do this just as easily by a two-handed grip on the bar. You don't need a cable attachment, but they're nice, they're comfortable. So we have one, so we're gonna use it. All you have to do here is set up a stable position to pull from. If you do that, it's just pull the cable attachment to your chest and back down. We use 25s all the way up until we're at the end because we want the range of motion. With 45s, you're going to get a little bit lesser range of motion, and that can get to the point where you're just really pulling a very small distance. Now I have another exercise that will team up with this if you have 45s all the way out to the end, which is not uncommon, to sort of make up for the lack of range of motion. It's a hyper range of motion row, and I'll show that in another video. But for now, what we have to do is establish a really good position. So Jax, if you get in here and establish a low back that is arched, it's got to be arched, and a position with the spine so that your arms don't hit the floor. So pick that up off the ground a little bit and a little bit higher. Good. Back flat, stretch the arms down, keep the body here, row. Good. Stretch, row. Good. Stretch, row. One more is fine. Now, drop the weight and stay in this position for me. The two things that we want to watch out for, one is rounding the back out and letting it pull us over. You don't want the weight to get a handle on you. You've got to stay up against it and not let your chest fall down. Two, as the weight gets heavier, you're more inclined to stand up and row like this, because that puts some of this weight back behind you the higher you can get. So once you establish a good position, you keep it, you fix that position, that's it. And then just pretend you're rowing. Row and release, stretch. Row and release. Now on this stretch, as she comes down, there's a temptation to let it pull you forward out of position or around your back, your lower back. And so you don't want to round the lower back, you don't want to round the upper back. You maintain the arch, you maintain the position, and row. Go ahead and do some on your own. Rest, I'm sorry, I had you bent over for quite a while. Let's take a look. All right, good. That's it. Good. Let's make an adjustment. Take a half a step forward. Catch your breath. All right. Try this. We're going to pull the weight a little bit lower. Now she's going to have to make the adjustments here. It's not so much what happens anywhere else. It just stays fixed. Once you get your position, you make your row from there. Good. So she's keeping this angle fixed. And now let's show them how to cheat. Catch your breath. Show them how to cheat by leaning back. And it almost hits you in the crotch when you're leaning back so much. And you'll see guys in the gym, and they just about are hitting themselves in the crotch because they're leaning back so much. That's fine back there. Let it do what it's going to do. Rest. All right. Let's throw a 45 on and show the change in range of motion. And we'll start.
All right. Ready.
So we've replaced the 25s with the 45, and you'll have to do that because it doesn't take long before you get to the point where you're all the way at the end with the 25s. So we've got this, and I just want to illustrate, go do a few rows, that it's a shorter range of motion. Again, she's got herself stiff as a board here, and she's not using any hip drive. Use a little bit of hip drive from the bottom now. Pick it up with your legs a little bit. And you'll see this in the gym too. And there's nothing wrong with this when it gets super heavy. As long as this doesn't come up back here, we're good. No matter what happens back there. So rest for a moment. And just catch your breath. So guys will use weight that they should be using with their back, and they'll get a charge with their legs. So it'll be legs, arms, legs, arms, legs, arms. And you can do it pretty smoothly, but you're still getting, just remember this, no amount of quad work is ever going to make your back any bigger. Now, having said that, after doing some really strict style rows where we keep the legs out of it, we keep any excessive torso motion out of it, I enjoy letting my athletes, especially the athletes, letting my athletes get a little sloppy with it and add more muscle into the motion. Because when athletes go out into the field, things don't move like this, nice and controlled and under safe conditions. They kind of bounce around and get thrown around and twisted. And so I think it's okay after you've done some really good, strict muscle work to allow some of the other muscles to come in and help those lats out and get a more full body motion. And I think the T-bar is a good way to do it. Now, I see people just do that. They use legs, traps, biceps, all kinds of other muscles than their back. And then they're using big weights, but how much of that weight is going to the legs, low back, traps, biceps, and how much of it is going to the muscle you're trying to train? So that's why first we do the really strict stuff. And we focus on getting good lat development. And then I think it's all right to have some play. Athletes love to play with the weights anyways. They enjoy that. So when you've earned it, when you've earned the right by doing some really good strict sets, you've earned the right to kind of play a little bit, to kind of cheat a little bit. And I don't even like to call it cheating. We overload it on purpose, and we tell the athlete what we're going to do. So therefore, they're not cheating me out of anything. I'm telling them that it's okay to use a little hip drive. It's okay to jerk with the arms a little bit. And so then it's not cheating. It's just overloading and having fun. Now, the rule is, one, has to be safe, and two, has to still get at the muscle we're trying to train. If they do this and their arms are kind of loose and they just do it all with their legs and they kind of follow through, legs and then just kind of follow through, legs and then kind of follow through, well, that's not worth doing. You might as well squat. But if we can do this exercise a little bit sloppy, but still focus in on the muscle we want to use to drive, I think that's okay. This isn't enough weight, but show what that would look like. A little bit of sloppiness on purpose now. I had her do it before as a way to cheat, but now she's going to use some leg and some low back and maybe some trap and don't hit yourself too hard. That's super light. And it becomes more of a full body motion, which is fair. Rest. That's good. So this is a super simple exercise. You just row your arm. You could do this as strict as you do. We showed the lat pull downs in a video before. Same thing. You could flex and then finish with the arms, flex with the back and finish with the arms. That's super strict. I would do some of that nice and smooth and strict first, and then I think it's enjoyable. I always enjoyed kind of letting the shaft out a little bit, letting the horses run. after I'd done a good job of stimulating growth in those muscles. So this is more of a bodybuilding style thing, but it can be done powerlifting style. If you're doing the powerlifting though, make sure that you don't do too much of the adding in and cheating. If all you're doing is cheating, I understand how fun that can be, but you're not going to get much development in your lats. So there's a fine line. A coach can see it. A coach can say, I'll let you cheat a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect to be effective, but I can't let you cheat too much. Once it gets to be too far, the coach has to rein it in. And you can kind of tell, if you're done with the set and you don't feel lat fatigue, but you feel forearm fatigue and bicep fatigue or low back fatigue, that you can coach yourself. That's not what you wanted to do. You weren't doing a forearm exercise. You weren't doing a low back exercise. You were doing a lat exercise. So one way to coach yourself to decide if you're doing too much, having fun and letting some other muscles come into play and synergizing your effort, is to ask yourself, where did I feel that? What did the most work? And if it was quads and you're doing a T-bar row, you've just swapped out a terrible quad exercise when you could have been squatting and completely negated any lat development that you could have got. So that's the basic exercise. We're going to put a companion exercise up with this, which is a full range twisting one-arm dumbbell row. And I think these two complement each other very well. This one's a shorter range of motion, and that one's an extremely long one. So look for that one soon. Thank you for listening. What do you think? Did I drone on too much?
A little bit.
Yep, I felt it.